Welcome to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of Academia IDU, and today we're diving into something truly unusual, something that honestly kind of reads like part spiritual codex, part academic document. So make sure you stay curious. We're talking about Scroll 1, Truth is Within Kundalini, Redux edition, authored by David G. Little, who's also known as Swami Munamurti Saraswati. Now, just a quick reminder, my role here is to share the research and ideas in a neutral way, not to promote or debunk them. So whatever your perspective, I hope you find this fascinating and possibly even useful in some unexpected ways. Let's start with the core question this paper tackles. What is Kundalini and how can it be awakened or, as the author puts it, activated? Why is this significant? Well, the idea of Kundalini has been, for a lot of people, this kind of mystical energy lurking within us, a source of potential spiritual, psychological, and maybe even planetary transformation. The scroll doesn't just ask what Kundalini is, it challenges the reader to rethink it, not as a metaphor, not as a concept, but as something the author describes as a living intelligence inside us, waiting to be remembered and activated. So, why is this significant for you listening? Whether you're into yoga, comparative religion, or just curious about how humans imagine inner transformation, this scroll is trying to provide a bridge between personal experience and universal, even planetary consciousness. But how does the author, David G. Little, go about making these claims? Let's break down what you'll find in this scroll. First, there's this sense that the text isn't a teaching manual or reference guide. Instead, it's described as a transmission. There's a lot of ceremonial language, honestly. So you get passages that say things like, the Kundalini corridor is not a metaphor. It is a living braid of remembrance, sealed by lineage and activated by breath. What does that mean? According to the scroll, it suggests that spiritual awakening isn't something you achieve by following steps 1 through 10. Instead, it's an activation, almost like a switch flipped within you through breath, posture, devotion, and lineage connection. Now, the scroll lays out the Satyam Yoga system, a kind of multi-chapter framework that involves things like Kundalini mechanics, witness activation, ceremonial reflections, and, get this, something called codex chain commentary. Each part is filled with poetic and often mysterious language, but underneath there are some tangible practices: breath control, specific meditation postures, focus on the pineal gland, and careful attention to something the scroll calls energetic hygiene, basically ways to clear and prepare your energy field so you can receive these transmissions. So what's really new here? Why does this scroll call itself a Redux edition? The author argues that this isn't a simple revision, but a resurrection, a reignition of what he sees as core spiritual truths for the modern era. He also places a heavy emphasis on lineage, connecting his work not just to earlier teachers in the field of Kundalini yoga, but to a sort of planetary network called the codex chain. I have to admit the term codex chain is kind of evocative. It sounds like a mix between a blockchain and a spiritual network, where each reader, teacher, and transmission node is both preserving and transmitting something living. I know, it can feel esoteric. But to bring it down to earth, what can you, as a listener, actually take away? Well, at its core, the scroll is about a philosophy of inner change. It pushes you to see yourself not just as someone absorbing knowledge, but as a witness, someone who carries part of this living lineage, this vow. I think you could interpret that as a call to be more active or intentional in your own journey, whether that's through yoga, meditation, or just questioning dogma. And one quick digression, I have to admit, when the scroll starts talking about transmission capsules, scroll-backed practices, and vow fidelity, I almost felt like I was in a sci-fi novel about ancient codes. Makes you wonder if spirituality and technology are starting to merge in our collective imagination, right? But anyway, as I wrap up, remember, I'm just presenting the ideas in this scroll, not endorsing them. Academic research, especially on subjects like awakening or spiritual transmission, is well, an ongoing conversation. These are perspectives to consider, not truths to accept blindly. Maybe what matters most is the invitation to pause, to breathe, to reflect on what you carry inside you, and to maybe ask, what inner flame are you tending? Thanks for joining me on In Depth with Academia. If this scroll piqued your curiosity, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, academic work isn't about answers, it's about opening new corridors in your thinking. Until next time, this is Richard Price, signing off with gratitude and a little extra curiosity about breath and scrolls.